Today's an exciting one. It's a new year and it's also the opportunity to get a new car. So today we're looking at that. Obviously, I want to let you guys kind of work it out as the video goes on, because what's the point in telling you straight away? So I'm going to give you a few clues, and if you could let me know in the comments if you're able to guess what the car is. Obviously don't skip forward, otherwise you've just broke the point in the whole scenario. So basically, what are we looking for? So we're looking for a daily. This daily is going to be a lease, so it's something that we're keeping short term, so it's brand new, and effectively it's something that's perfect for both the countryside and the urban environments. So think of 4x4, but also think of compact. So when everyone thinks of 4x4, I think everyone thinks of a certain brand, and that is a British brand. So I'm going to leave it a moment for everyone to kind of put it in the comments, and we'll jump straight in. So first of all, if you guessed that it was a Land Rover or Range Rover, you are correct. We are on the website, as you can see here. We've got Range Rover Defender and Discovery. Interesting that they've dropped the Land Rover denomination and now they're just doing it as a branded Defender and Discovery. I think that's a bit of a miss, but it's something that they've chose to do. And then we are jumping straight into the Defenders. So obviously we can see here, embrace the impossible. How cool is that? Straight away, we have that Defender driving around in both kind of an urban safari environment, straight through to a jungle, and then further into an urban environment where it could be used every single day. And I think fundamentally, this might be the perfect daily to ever have existed. I am so excited for this car. So in fact, I am snaking you guys a little bit. I'm showing you the spec today, but it's actually coming within the next few weeks. So you'll be seeing a delivery video very, very soon. And hopefully that will show you everything that might not be in this video. So there may be nuances and spec that I didn't know when the car comes, which is really exciting. So straight away we have the Defender. We have different options and specs here. So they have the Octa, which is the top of the range. We have the 130, which is the longest wheelbase. Then we have the 110, which is the more traditional Defender that you see on the roads. And then we have the 90. One of the key things we're doing here today, which is a little bit different, is obviously you then have the Defender Classic, but we're going straight over to the Defender Hardtop. So a lot of people would call this one the commercial. Obviously I'm not using it commercially, but it is a commercial vehicle. So as you can see here, when we click across, it shows kind of the urban and ruggedness of this vehicle, quite literally going up hills, and how sick does it look. So the difference denomination with the hardtop is obviously no sunroof, as well as no rear windows. And instead of having the rear seats, you effectively have a big sealed compartment. So it's like a really big boot, almost like a pickup truck, but with that hard top. So you can see here moving down that in essence, the practicality, we've got a vehicle with a huge load space in the back. And as you can see, it looks pretty rugged. It looks like something out of a zombie apocalypse. So super excited for this. You've also got the ability to have 2 or 3 seats in the front. And then further to that, we have the larger screen, fingers crossed, on the spec. So as we go into the spec, let's see what we can spec it to. So straight away, you have the hardtop, and that starts as a hardtop S. You can then go top X Dynamic SE, or you can go top X H Dynamic HSE. Now, I think we're going to go top of the range here. I think we go straight in for the top spec. So what does that get us? Well, that gets us 20-inch satin grey wheels. We get matrix LEDs. We get Windsor leather seats. So obviously that is the full leather interior. And we get soft close tail door, as well as 2 or 3 seats, depending on what we spec. So the base option for engines now is the D250. Apparently they used to do a D200, but it was seen as a little bit underpowered. They also had a D300. So what effectively they've done is they've got rid of the 200 and 300, or kept the 250 that was already in production, and then added a D350. So this is a diesel mild hybrid, and we're going to go for that. So obviously we want to have a little bit more oomph in the vehicle. So acceleration 0 to 60 is 6.5 seconds, 350 horsepower, as in that denomination of D350. And then we have emissions, which I don't really understand, so we'll just go straight past that. Adventure Pack and the Adventure Black Pack, we're not going to go for that. I don't really see the point in having like your sandwiches stuck to the side of your car, because effectively all that is a lunchbox. Urban Pack, don't really know what that adds. What does the Urban Pack add? Metal front undershields. See, to be honest, I don't really like that. I like the look of like it all blacked out. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to just skip past that. So we have the ability to have Gondwana stone, or we can have, what's the other colour? Santorini black. Oh, 100% Santorini black. Look how cool that looks. And in fact, one of the things I'm thinking of doing is on the front of there, you see that kind of a satin grey, and I think it's also on the rear. I'm thinking of actually getting both of those just wrapped. I think it would probably cost about 300-400 quid, easily reversible, it being a lease, but I think it would just look so much cleaner and so much meaner. The cool thing is I have a matching plate to the Ferrari that will be going on this, so they'll be, you know, twinning in the garage. And then further to that, what do we need? Towing, we're not going to tow. Extended black interior. So this I'm really tempted by. So obviously it blacks it out like I said about, but to my knowledge, all it does is that front and rear valance. So for 975 quid, or I could just turn around and wrap it for like 400 quid. So I think I'm going to just wrap it. Moving to wheels, we have 19-inch. We don't want 19, we want 20s. And to be honest, I really like those 5 spokes in the satin grey. I think that's cool, and I think that's HSE Top Dynamic that gets those wheels. So I think they're a win. They're definitely my favourites of what's available. You could go 22-inch, but then the idea of this vehicle is that it's urban and countryside. And as soon as I start going up on bigger wheels, then it's not really going to be very good all-terrain. So I think by going middle ground, I know probably 18s are probably better for off-road, but I think if we go down the middle, it will do everything. So the funny one is a spare wheel cover. So I just had a little look at this, a spare wheel colour in body colour. If we just click to add it, okay, it looks cool and I intend to add one. That's 430 quid. So I just checked on eBay and you can get non-branded ones for 85 quid. So we're definitely gonna just avoid that and get the unbranded one. And then the nice thing about that is once I then have had the vehicle for the full term, I could just sell the wheel cover separately so I can actually recoup some of that cost. One of the differences in this is obviously traditionally you would have the Defender with the 2 seats and the center console. We're going 3 seats. So we're getting a little jump seat in there. And kind of the reason for that is effectively because I'm losing the back seats, I'm losing 2 or 3 seats in the rear. So it will no longer be a 5-seater, it's only a 2. And further to that, I take my dog a lot of places. And I think what's really good about that is now all of a sudden, you could say it's 3 seats, it's probably 2.5. I can have myself, someone else in the vehicle, and then my dog. And he has a seat, so it means that I can put him on a seat belt and harness, and he's nice and safe. Now, a lot of people might say, why don't you put him in the back? I could do, probably, maybe I will. We'll see when it comes. But what's really cool about that 3rd seat is that it turns down into a really big armrest. So whenever it's not being used, it's still got purpose. So that's that. I think we're going to go boring. We're going to go Windsor black leather. What's a cross car beam? Is that the bit on the outside? I don't know. Oh no, that's inside. Okay. Right. Okay. I get it. Cross car beam. To be honest, I think we're going to leave it in the grey. I quite like that. It's a little bit of touch of colour in the interior. And I think the Defender lettering pops a bit more on it. So definitely stick with the cross car beam. We've got the extended leather upgrade that came as part of the top spec HSE Dynamic. And we also have the black headlining, which is definitely my preferred. I always think grey looks like you haven't spec'd an option. We don't need air suspension, we don't need climate. Towing pack looks cool, but we don't need it. So yeah, I think that's our spec. So that's the spec locked in. Let's just have a little look at the summary of that. Yeah, so we've got a Defender 90 hardtop, top spec HSE Dynamic. And that is coming in at, oh shit, 71,000, okay. And your design will take 3 to 6 months. Well, as I said in this video, I am snaking you guys. It is a lease, so one of the great things about that is that it's already been ordered, and in fact, I'm getting it in January. So I appreciate that comes up to an awful lot of money. That's coming up to £71,225, which is an insane amount of money for a car. But I'm not paying that. So the really interesting thing about a lease is obviously you pay a deposit, you pay your monthlies for a period of time. You can sometimes extend that, and then you just hand the car back. So it's a little bit like Netflix when it started, and you just pay your monthly and then you stop it, and then that's it. You lose your kind of contract or subscription. So yeah, I get to enjoy the car, but I never truly own it. I am able to put my number plate on it, which is nice. But the key thing about that is you get this car at a much lower cost. So to give you an indication of cost, if I was to go and get this £71,000 Land Rover Defender through Land Rover, I'd probably be looking at probably about £1,000 a month or 12 to 1,500 quid a month as a payment. Obviously that would be either a PCP or a HP purchase hire. And yeah, that would be a lot of money going out each month. The nice thing about a lease is I'm able to get into a vehicle like this, and I was very fortunate that there was a deal on at the time that in essence what I'm putting down is about £4,000 and I'm paying about 360 quid a month. So it's allowing me to get into a car that I've always wanted for a much lower cost. The only downfall of that is I hand it back at the end. But the cool things about a lease is that I don't have to pay the road tax because that's handled by them. And I technically never own the V5, but you can put a number plate on it. And then when it comes to the point of handing it back, you just send it back. So really all I have to worry about in the ownership is effectively maintaining it. So I should probably only have one service. I'm only keeping it about 18 months, any tires and insurance really. So it's a quite affordable way to own a very expensive car for a period of time, and then you just hand it back. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I hope you guys like the spec. Hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit more with this. And as I said, there are certain modifications I'd like to do to it. Obviously being stuff that I can easily turn back to how it was. So those kind of front and rear grey valances. Then we've also got the little bit of silver on the grille, which I hadn't noticed before, which I'd like to kind of get rid of. And then further to that, a wheel cover. So keeping it pretty simple, making it look a little bit more urban, a little bit more aggressive. And then hopefully when the Ferrari sells, we'll be able to get something to go alongside it. And to be honest, the Vantage is still the front runner. So we'll see if that comes in the future. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you all have a good New Year's, and subscribe to the channel, follow the journey. Supposedly there's 20,000 return viewers between my shorts and my long form. And if those could turn into subscribers, well, all of a sudden I would have a job opportunity there and I'd be able to go all in on this project. So thanks for watching, follow the journey, and that's it. Bye-bye.
Running low on the borderlines, and you tell me that you'll do